Hey, this is Rhymeswith. Thanks for joining me in part 2 of my May standard ladder climb. In this episode, I'm playing Tempo Demon Hunter, and this is before the last nerf to Demon Hunter to the Priestess of Fury and Crimson Sigil Runner. So I'm playing a deck with those cards. I'm up against a warrior to start. Definitely want to kill the armor smith. So here I want to clear the 4/4, if possible. I just want to manage their board as much as possible. If I deny them minions on the board, makes their battle rages worse, makes their blood boil brutes harder to play. Taking a lot of damage, still figure it's worth it. I've got a lot of demons in my hand, clearly. So he's got exactly enough mana to play the Blood Boil Brute. I didn't really think about that. That lines up pretty well, but that gives me a chance to get the board again. I'm going to be able to dump my hand pretty much next turn with the 2 Frenzied Fellwings, if I can do face damage, which it looks like I might not be able to do this turn with the 2 taunts in the way. His hand is running pretty low. Take the I-Beam, really need to manage my health at this point. I took a lot of damage tanking to clear his big minions, so I was able to play all the Frenzied Fellwings, and now I've got 14 damage on the board. It's pretty unlikely that he's got a Risky Skipper and 2 or 3 other minions in his hand. Wow. Good thing I used the I-Beam last turn. That would have killed me. So here, I just got to gain as much life as possible. Because he could draw a weapon, he could draw another charger. Yeah, again, I just narrowly avoid lethal by making sure I gain a little bit of life, prioritizing that. It's about how do I lose versus how do I win when I've got the board. Counting carefully, just double checking, but yeah, I've got lethal for sure. Always feels good to beat the warriors. It's not a good matchup for Demon Hunter, so whenever I get those wins, feels good. I think I played pretty well. I could have given up the board, but I didn't. So now I'm up against a mage. I figure the Frenzied Fellwing will be a quick play. A turn 2 play is what I'm thinking. And that totally denies me. With the Twin Slice, I could do 3/5 damage, but that's not enough to kill the Doomsayer. If the I-Beam was in a different position, if I had 1 more mana, well, let's see, 3/5. I could have killed it with the I-Beam, actually. Maybe I didn't see that. Would it have been worth it, though? I don't know that it would have. Yeah. Especially with what his next turn ended up being, it wouldn't have been worth it. But if I didn't know that, it might have been worth it. In my mind. Yeah, just get the I-beam, try to tempo out the Frenzied Fellwing. This is a slow turn for me here. Probably a turn I should mana burn to set up the stronger Priestess of Fury. I decide not to. I'm not sure why exactly. I guess the Priestess of Fury would get countered by Reno Jackson. But imagine if I'd play this Priestess of Fury on a empty board. I would have gotten 7 damage in. Wow, 7 damage. Huh. 6 damage. Not 7. 6 damage. Oh, wow. Yeah. This game was really winnable if I had played the mana burn on the turn that I had nothing to do. He had a polymorph. I didn't see what position that was in his hand. Was that... I mean, things are still looking pretty good, but I would have gotten 6 more damage. And what would he have done here? 6 more damage, and could have maybe already gone face with the Twin Slice. So could have just straight up won, probably. That's what it looks like to me. Real missed opportunity. It's a tempo deck, and I didn't play for tempo with the mana burn. My position still doesn't look horrible, but my hand is looking really, really skimpy at this point. And I don't have Glavebound Adepts, I don't have Warglaives of Azzinoth in this list. So there isn't a lot of power to suddenly draw into either. Yeah, I've fallen really behind. Now I'm going face because I can't win the board. Now he's basically shut me out of any lethal chances. And yeah, totally misplayed there. Good to review it though. Didn't see it at the time, didn't think about it. Okay, 1-1. Let's move on to this Paladin opponent here. I don't go for the 1-drop mulligan. Yeah, I think if I were to do that mulligan again, I'd probably go for an ideal one. Try to get some 1-drops. Go for the Twin Slice because I've got Ultras in my hand, and he's going to have a wide board. Just accept that the 2/3 will line up with one of my 3/2s. Now I set myself up for getting wrecked by Consecration, but I know I've got Ultras. Ultras, I do 1 damage there, 2 damage. Yeah. I'm not sure why I think that was a blunder. That was... I needed to do 2 to the 2/3. So here I could keep the Ultras. I know it's not super mana efficient, but the Ultras is pretty powerful. Well, I could have kept the Ultras and played 3/5, so yeah, that was a mistake there. That was a strange play. Strange play. The 4/6 just needs a small buff. The Libram to get 5 damage and kill one of my 3/5s. Libram of Wisdom. Got a lot of silences. Just a matter of how I want to deal with it. Drawing into the I-beam, that works well. Yep. That was a pretty good turn overall. Double McGurgle. Just trying to... If I had 1 more mana, the Priestess of Fury there would have been really good. Inner Demon is a lot of damage, but I just feel like I'm so far away that I can't really count on it. Trying to win the board here. I need to win the board because I'm so far away from lethal. So it's looking tough here. Every turn I'm fighting for board, and I don't have a board. I can win this board, but that was smart there. I played around Repentant Swell. If he doesn't have an answer for the Priestess of Fury, then I have a shot. He does. Kind of run out of my strongest plays here. I've used Metamorphosis, my Priestess of Fury, my Ultras. Here I make a mistake, a pretty clear one, because there's a secret up. I don't think I noticed that a secret had been played for some reason. And it's... what's that called? I forget what the secret's called, but it basically negates the silence. So pretty wasteful on my part. Still fighting for board. Probably should have given up. Given up after the second Priestess of Fury got wrecked. because there just isn't enough power left in the deck. But I like to as often as possible see games through, because sometimes I do claw my way back occasionally, and I like to learn about those edge cases. Those are a lot of fun. Yeah, but at this point, I can see what my top deck is, but there isn't anything that I can draw that's going to be powerful enough to deal with the situation. Yeah, I really gave away the Ultras way too easily. The mistake against the Secret was not that big a deal. The game was already pretty much lost. So here I'm against a Rogue. Play the Crimson Sigil Runner. It's easy keep when it's in outcast position, and it's pre-nerf. It's a 2-1. It's pretty good. Pretty clean kill of Hanar. Works out well because he had a secret in hand. Not a bad thing when they're buffing my minion and playing a 4/4 Edwin. That's really not bad. Must not have a great hand. Perfect. Twin Slice lines up well. It's going to help me with Ultras. I like those witchy lackey generous mummy plays. It's a good way to get some value out of the generous mummy. Though you're not often getting a stat increase because the generous mummy is kind of overstated. Yeah, I've got a really strong Ultras turn brewing. I know Maiev was overhyped some at the beginning of the expansion, but I still like Ultra. I mean, I still like Maiev a lot. Yeah, I don't know why I would trade the 1/1 into the 1/2. Now I usually go for 2 damage on enemy minions. I feel like that's a high chance to kill the minions. I do need to do a little bit of thinking about what it means to have multiple minions. Like, look at the numbers, how many minions that are on the board, how that changes the Priestess of Fury's likelihood to clear the minions, because the more minions are on the board, the more likely Priestess of Fury's individual damage checks are going to hit the minions, the more likely that you'll probably clear the minions. But I don't like gambling too much and leaving stuff up. It's just kind of a easy punish that I can avoid. Yeah, what the Rogue's doing, it's kind of too late. I've just got too much damage ready to go here. Early game is so important to the Demon Hunter strategy. Just get that early damage in, and then after you lose the board, just go face at the end. Rogues are not scary as Demon Hunter. In general, I feel pretty comfortable. Interesting, I keep the Raging Fell Screamer here. I guess I've got double draw with the Crimson Sigil Runners in my hand that I figure, I have a pretty good shot at drawing into a demon. I don't really know what my odds are, though. That 1-5 lines up really well with what I want to do here. Decided to go wide to just give myself as many options as possible. Interesting that he kills my 2/2/1s instead of killing my Battle Fiend. My Battle Fiend's going to get stronger. But hey. Probably a mistake on the Rogue's part. You know, I've had a really strong opening, and it was countered pretty well by the Rogue. I play the Raging Fell Screamer, which maybe makes the opponent think that I've got a stronger turn 5 play lined up, but I really don't. The Rogue gives up though, so hey, good start. Not bad here. Hey, okay, to wrap up those 5 games, this is my Tempo Demon Hunter list that I was playing. Like I said, it's pre-nerf, so I've got the Crimson Sigil Runner when it's got 2 attack. I've got the Priestess of Fury back when it had 7 health. And this list is pretty strong early game. The Frenzied Fellwings, I feel like, do a good job of increasing tempo early game. The problem, I'd say, with my list is that it's lacking some more burst and kind of power, besides the Priestess of Fury, Metamorphosis, and Ultras. More power could come from the Warglaives of Azzinoth and the Gladebound Adepts and the Satyr Overseers that combo so well with the Warglaives of Azzinoth. Those are definitely cards I think of putting in later, and it's good to see the mistakes I made in these couple of games. The Mage game was totally winnable if I'd played the Mana Burn earlier and kind of tempoed out the Priestess of Fury on empty boards instead of contested boards. And the Paladin game might have gone a bit differently if I'd kept the Ultras alive 1 turn instead of trading. Who knows? It's just great to review my games and see my potential mistakes and learn from those. Reviewing games is how you get better. Well, thanks for watching, and yeah, tell me if you noticed any mistakes or anything like that. Always good to hear other people and get outside feedback.
Outland, a wild and dangerous world.
You will find no justice here.